"I know you've done a lot for classical music," he told the presenter sorrowfully. After all, the man sounded nice and was probably kind to his wife. "But really, is that what you think great music is about? Did Beethoven say, 'Darling, I think I created something memorably relaxing this morning'? Did Mrs. Mahler find Mahler spark out as she brought him his morning coffee? Sorry, Ingeborg, this symphony I'm writing is so relaxing I must have nodded off. Give me great music, stirring music, please." He reached forward to press the button again, feeling a stab of pleasure at reducing the announcer to impotence. How he wished people could feel it when he switched them off. "Bad news, Monty. We've lost James Hollingshurst. The bastard was distinctly unimpressed. He's switched over to BBC Radio 3. He accelerated with a sudden surge of impotent anger and swung out into the fast lane. Surely the way James was driving, if one of the Hollingshursts was to have a fatal accident that day, it would be him. Not so. Deborah came to a rare, straight stretch of road. 4 cars were proceeding smoothly in the opposite direction. A fifth, a Porsche, was overtaking them at speed. Suddenly she realised that it was going to be a close-run thing if she didn't slow down to let the driver through. Why should she, though? He was the one at fault, arrogant, rich, spoilt in his expensive car. He deserved to have a moment of shock, of doubt, of fear. She'd brake, of course she would. She'd have to, but not for a couple of seconds. It was the worst decision she ever made in her life. It was also the last decision she ever made in her life. A tall man, elegant in white linen, sat at a window table in the Pink and Cream restaurant, toyed with a glass of rather average house white, and looked out over the gardens, which sloped down towards the gently flowing water. He wouldn't like his name to be revealed. He shouldn't be there. He'd chosen the place because he wasn't known there. He'd kept his wits about him, and he was certain that nobody had followed him. The only private dick he needed to be concerned with was the one in his sharply creased trousers, which was so stimulated that he was finding it hard to keep it private. Let us allow him his precious anonymity. For the moment, at least. There's no need to name the hotel either. One of the things that had most attracted him to it was its obscurity. It was a long way from anybody he knew, and a long way from anybody whom the woman he was expecting knew. Let's just say it was the What's-It Arms, prettily situated on the banks of the River Thingamajig, just outside the pleasant but not distinguished little village of somewhere juxta nowhere. It was mentioned in no guidebooks. It had no Michelin stars. It was perfect. He had the table furthest from the door. He sat facing the door. Every time anybody entered, he felt a frisson of excitement soon dashed. "My God," he said to himself with a wry internal smile as he watched the lunchers enter. "We're an ugly race." He wasn't surprised that she was late. He'd expected her to be late. It was stylish for a woman to arrive late, and she was very stylish. He'd guessed that she would be 8, 9, perhaps 10 minutes late. It was correct, and he always liked to be correct, which was why he'd had to be so secretive. There was no way what he was doing today was correct. A clandestine lunch with a married woman. Not his style at all. And of all married women, this one. Not just lunch either, or so he hoped. Not half an hour ago he had booked a double room for the night, just in case. He could hardly believe that he'd been so bold. But if things went well, and if the mood was right, and if he did manage to persuade her, it might be disastrous to have to go through all the business of booking, of pretending to be a married couple, of giving false names. "Do you need any help with your luggage?" "We have no luggage. Only baggage." He'd had to give a name, of course, fill in a form. Mr. and Mrs. Rivers, Lakeview, 69, Pond Street, Pool. Utterly unbelievable, but it aroused no suspicion from the Hungarian receptionist, whose skin was like a white pudding he had once eaten in the Languedoc. He'd blushed slightly at the boldness, the wild optimism of his choice of house number. He couldn't remember ever having been even remotely risque before. What had got into him? Love? Madness? The girl hadn't reacted. Perhaps they didn't use that term in the villages around Lake Balaton. Suddenly he realised that he was wearing his wedding ring, and that might be tactless. He stood up abruptly, then calmed himself down and walked out of the restaurant, trying to look insouciant. He went to the gents and forced the ring off his finger. He'd never taken it off before, and it didn't come easily. This was taking time. She would arrive before he got back. He began to panic. His finger felt trapped inside the ring. At last it came off, and he breathed more easily again. But now he needed a pee, his third in the last hour. He'd rarely been so nervous. "Oh, hurry, hurry, lazy prick. She'll be there. She'll have arrived," and found him absent, the great moment ruined. He walked back, trying to look calm and carefree.